get better people. Hey, now wow, my people. Nothing wey no dey happen for inside life. Una see Labour Party for inside that country, Nigeria. The thing wey they just dey go through now. Okupe don resign. No, they don force am make he resign. But you know wetin come dey surprise people for inside that country, Nigeria. Now, hey, the way Labour Party supporters and their presidential candidate come take dey defend Okupe, my people. E come be like say wetin he do say na good thing na he do, oh my people. Some people come see dey talk for inside line say the case na 2018 na e start when EFCC take carry the case put for head like say dem chop banana. When e come be say na months to election na e be say dem come judge the matter say this one no be political strategy to take destabilize Labour Party. Now what my people, make una see the defense when Labour Party come dey defend Okupe. Una watch this video to the end, my people. Abeg, if una don watch and finish, make una try drop una comment for inside our comment section. Make una no forget say this one na radio Joe and online television. Make una follow us waka for inside our Facebook and our Instagram. Don't forget say we see there inside TikTok. Abeg, make you help us push this video by liking and sharing it.
Doyin Okupe was not found guilty on corruption. He was not found guilty on stealing. He was not found guilty on misappropriation of funds. He was not found guilty on terrorism. He was not found guilty on money laundering. The judge actually used the adjectival phrase, honest mistake. Meaning that Doyin Okupe, when he was the special senior assistant to the president, accepted money in excess of what the individual is allowed by Section 2(1) of the Money Laundering Act, which limited it to 5 million to individual, 10 million to a corporate body. He accepted money from the office of the National Security Advisor on the authority of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Doyin Okupe simply went to the president and told him the money he needed to use to run his office, and it was approved that he should come under the National Security Advisor. And he was accepting the money from the National Security Advisor, and the vouchers were there. That was why the judge reached the inescapable conclusion that it was an honest mistake. Why was it an honest mistake? Because it is an infringement on a law that has strict liability. In other words, your intention is irrelevant. So the actus reus of the element of the crime is that he accepted money. But here is the catch. The law said individual or corporate body. The law has not definitely said when you're acting in your capacity as the senior special assistant to the president, when you're acting in your office, not in your individual person, are you guilty? The learned judge has delivered his judgment. They are on appeal to talk on that particular issue, because Doyin Okupe acted in his capacity as the senior special assistant to the president, not in his individual capacity. And that is why the judge made it clear, look, you're not corrupt by any means, but is it not gratifying that when it has to do with Labour Party, we talk about honesty, even in the mistake? What do you compare it with the other parties? I want to let you know, right, that even in that act, when you go to the bank, you have the choice of collecting cash in excess of the limits of the law. The only thing is that you have to voluntarily pay the fine associated with it. So when the judge was giving him an option of fine, it's actually what the law allows. Put it this way, you should pay fine because you exceeded the limit. In default of paying the fine, you will go to jail for 2 years. Doyin Okupe, being a classical honorable man, even when there was no corruption issue against him, he still resigned. You don't find such honorable men in Nigeria. Well, we are in New York doing our rally. No meeting has been held over this issue. The principal simply said he's moving on without distraction. Who will push him? No. The court has already told you. This is not about corruption. This is not about misappropriation of funds. You have just brought me to the issue while we are talking that PDP is very incompetent. Because that happened in PDP regime. You can imagine a party that could not even educate its officers at that level, the legal implications of what they are doing. Doyin Okupe is not a lawyer. That is why the judge is saying, sorry, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. He's not a lawyer. Kenneth Okonkwo is. PDP could not even educate its officers at that high level. That is why people should avoid the living of the PDP. Jesus Christ warned his disciples, avoid the living of the Pharisees. Everybody should avoid anything that has to do with such a party that is so incompetent and so incoherent in the implementation of its policies. That's why Okupe got into problem. You hired people, you do not train them on the consequences of the law. You gave them cash yourself. They simply accepted it. They did what you told them to do by law and by the authority of the president, and then you are bringing them to law. But it's important we point out this. EFCC has been so quick in doing this. Ebola Tinubu carried bullion van in cash at the eve of an election publicly. And the EFCC has not even had the temerity of investigating that and asking him questions. Do you know what he used bullion van for? Tinubu has openly confessed what he uses it for. He said to his followers, power is not served a la carte. Power is not served in a restaurant during breakfast. You fight for it at all costs. You snatch it, you grab it, you run with it. What do you fight for? What do you grab? Ballot boxes. That's what he uses the bullion van for. The cash, openly. Nobody has even investigated that. And APC had the temerity of choosing such a man to be the APC presidential candidate. This APC government has become an anathema to the Nigerian society. And in saner climb, they ought not to even be campaigning. What are you campaigning on? 1,000 naira to $1? What are you campaigning on? That insecurity is no longer available? Haven't you seen Akeredolu as a governor of APC raising his hand and crying with his white birds that his party has failed the people in security? 40 persons massacred in a church. The massacre in an APC government does not even respect mosques and churches anymore. 71 months cumulative between PDP and APC. ASU has been at home. Children are no longer educated. They have taken to crime as a pastime. This is the same Nigeria that was regarded as the safest heaven around the world. These two parties, I think they should just confess to the Almighty God that they have failed.